And um, so we will get started. So my name is Rose White, and I'm the Student Success Coordinator in the Office of Graduate Studies. And I'm really happy that you're all here. Um, we have a lot of programming that is just designed to try and help undergrads as well as grad students prepare for what is coming after they graduate. And we do work a lot with the Career Center, and we've had a presentation from Career Center staff that we do have a recording of, and it's sort of the precursor to this one. So if anybody wasn't able to get to that one, we can share link to a recording of that. But this, in that one, actually, they went over some things that, just the basics about the Career Center. And I'm going to just touch on that stuff just very, very quickly here. Um, and then they went in pretty deeply into how to use LinkedIn to network, and we're gonna touch on that some here too. But so if anybody is interested in that recording, we can send a link to that. And I definitely recommend that everybody use their services. So we'll talk a little bit more about that too. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to do a little quick survey to see if anybody is interested in sharing their major and whether they are planning on looking for work right after graduation, or if anybody is planning on going on to graduate school after graduating. So anybody who wants to share, I'm going to give it a second here.
Hi, yes, hello. My name is Liliana, and I'm a religious studies major. And after graduation, I hopefully will be admitted into either like CSUN, Pico, or the most recent one is Golden Gate University. Or, well, they're all different ones, not necessarily religious studies related, but it's okay because Pico has a really cool MBA program that I'm very much interested in.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm really
Of
glad
course.
you've got a variety of things that you're kind of entertaining as a possibility. So good luck, Liliana. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
I can share. So my name is Kelly. I'm a nutrition major. I'm a second year graduate student, so I have one more year. So after I graduate, I plan on getting into a dietetic internship, and that's an 8 month, 8 to 10 month program. So that's goal number one.
Awesome.
And then upon that, yeah, just go right into the workforce.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kelly. Anyone else? Anybody who wants to can share in the chat too as we go along. So I'm glad that we have a couple examples of what folks are planning on doing. We do have some folks who are planning on going on to get a little bit more education after graduation, but also going on to the workforce. Everybody's going to eventually be doing that. So now I will go ahead and share my screen, and I'm hopeful that everyone can see preparing for life after graduation. Great. Um, so what we're going to talk about today is three different things that can help you get prepared for what's coming And it's never too early to get prepared, but it's also never too late to get started. So just know that this is designed to help everybody have a little bit of information about steps that you can take now to get prepared. We're going to talk a little bit about some resources right here that you can take advantage of. And then we're going to end with planning some strategies to get you going. So the first thing I want to do is go over some things that we're going to touch on in the slides in more detail, but a timeline of things to do is going to be taking advantage of the Career Center's resources. They have lots of web resources and they have their Success Studio, and we're going to talk about both of those things. Also, we definitely recommend that you do a little bit of self-assessment to get prepared, and also do a little bit of research about your favored career and about individual particular jobs that are out there, positions, and get some more information about that. And we'll share some information about how you can do that. We also recommend that you develop a portfolio. And that is just a way to help you keep organized. It's a place to store things as you gather your information and do your self-assessment. But also, it helps you track your progress and feel like, you can see your progress. And that's kind of something that can help boost you along the way. We're going to talk about developing a LinkedIn or online presence so that you can make some connections. We're going to talk about networking, whether it's online or in person, just plain having conversations, and we'll actually go a lot into detail about that. And then we're going to look at some things about actually taking some action. So the first thing that we want to go into is just using the Career Center. Has anyone here used the Career Center at all already, or have any plans to do that?
Uh,
You have?
Yes,
And how did you use them?
I use their website to find, they have this link to jobs that could match your skills and the things that you want to do. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a resource that they have.
Oh, all right. Actually, I remember what it's called, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm glad you've used that before. So I also am happy that you all are here and just having the opportunity to take a look at some of the things that the Career Center can offer. So I'm going to just pull up. Can you see now their job fair and their website here?
Yes.
Good. All right. So basically, the Career Center, this is their landing page, and you can see huge across the top that they've got a job fair, and it's all majors job fair coming up this month. So when we're back from spring break, there's an opportunity for people to go in and get some information about jobs that are maybe full-time, even internships, even summer work. So there's all kinds of possibilities there. They have information about their Success Studio and how you can either Zoom with them or head into their office between 10 and 3 on Monday through Thursday, and you don't need an appointment. They've got job listings. They've got a very cool career handbook, which has a ton of very useful information. And so I highly recommend that you take advantage of this PDF, which is on their website. And then they also have information about their workshops, events, and fairs. And you can kind of see what their career fairs are like, and it can help you kind of get prepared a little bit. And none of this stuff, I think sometimes their stuff seems a little bit scarier than it needs to be. So just know it's a very, very open and helpful office with sweet people working there who want to help you. And they're inviting all kinds of employers into campus. And that's an opportunity for you to just go in and just see who's there, just see what possibilities there might be, and just go and chat with people in, you're not necessarily going to be interviewing right then, but you can just go and talk to people about the positions that are open. And it's a great way to be able to start networking. And Angelica mentions that the Career Handbook gives great examples of resume building tools. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's very useful. It's got example resumes and it's got tips on how to write it well. It's got even, wording to use. It's just, you wouldn't believe how helpful it is. And then they've got individuals at the Career Center who are happy to meet with you individually and look over your resume, and just help you hone that. I think maybe what Aurelie was mentioning might have been Focus 2. It's here on their website, and that's an assessment that can help you figure out some things about work that matches who you are. And so it kind of is an assessment of you and who you are. And we're going to go on to that in a minute. So just know that they've got a ton of resources. And the main thing that I want you to remember is that the Career Center services and the Office of Graduate Studies are services that are available to you forever. You can come back years later and we're still going to be here to serve you. And while we are interested in helping you whenever you come along, we hope you'll come and see us sooner rather than later, because you can benefit starting right now. So just know there's a lot here that's useful. I've got links in these slides. I'm happy to share the slides. If anybody wants to put their email in the chat, I can send the slides to you. And if anybody is watching this video, you can email graduatestudies@Chico State and we can send them to you. So we talked a little bit about assessing yourself and researching careers in the labor market, because you can use these 4 links. Focus 2 is available on the Chico State website in the Career Center. It's free and it is a way to assess your interests, your skills, your experience. And then what it does is it matches that up with careers that might fit with you. And then it can give you a list of job titles that then you can go out and research a little bit more of on O.net, Career One Stop, and My Next Move. And these are sort of labor market and job information websites, but O.net and Career One Stop and My Next Move also have assessments too. And those assessments are free. So it's a really great way of using the different tools that are out there. I will tell you, Focus 2 is very short. It probably takes 5 minutes to do one module of maybe 4 or 5 modules that they have that kind of tries to assess your interests in one, your skills in another, your experience in another, and maybe, I can't remember what the other one is, maybe your personality or values. I think it might be your values. So you could probably do that just piecemeal. Go in, take 5 minutes, do one, come back, do another one, or you do them all and it takes you, less than half an hour. It gives you some information that you can use about yourself, and then you can take the suggested job titles and plug them in ONET or Career One Stop or the Occupational Outlook Handbook. And you can put that job title in and find out things about that job. Not only what level of education do I need to do that to help you know if you need any more training, but also you can find out, what is the typical salary for this job? Where are these jobs available? What is the environment of that occupation like? Do I usually work in an office by myself? Do I usually go out and work, in the field? Do I work with a team? All kinds of information like that. And it can also tell you, what is the job outlook? Is that occupation growing in demand, or is it shrinking? Things like that are useful. So this is very, very useful information for you to just kind of assess yourself and what you might be going into. It helps you to begin the process of honing in on exactly the positions that you're going to apply for. Some of these actually have job, some of them link to job boards as well. So there's all kinds of useful stuff here. So we also, as you go through this process, recommend that you start to develop a portfolio and organize your material, whether that's just in a folder in some cloud storage, or whether it's a folder on your desk where, you gather the information that you are obtaining, keep it all organized, your self-assessment results, when you're getting training, any kind of certificates you get, you store that there. You note your experience and skills. This is going to help you later when you are creating an online presence. You're storing labor market data, whatever you're exploring on those websites, you store the information here. But as I mentioned before, it's really useful to have that portfolio. It's some place where you are able to track your progress, and it can help you because it can be a long process, and this can help you see that you are making progress. I do have some spreadsheets and worksheets, and I'm going to put a link in the chat, and I've got a Life After Grad School folder that has some spreadsheets that can be used to track your progress. And let me see if I can pull one of those up so you can kind of see a little bit of something. Okay, so what I've got here is, here's an occupation analysis spreadsheet where you have a particular position that you are considering. Maybe you've got the jobs from ONET or Career One Stop or What My Next Move, which are all linked here. And then you go, okay, I'm interested in that kind of position. How much training do I need? Here's where I can track the average salary. Where are the jobs? Can I work remotely? Does it fit with who I am? And then you can kind of track, okay, I do want to look at this more, so I am going to pursue this, or I need more information. That, you can just track it. You can, a specific position that is listed on a job board like Handshake or Indeed or LinkedIn, Idealist or Glassdoor. You can use this to put in the job title and what are the requirements that are listed on that job posting. You put those down and you can kind of rate yourself. Am I ready for this? Do I have this already? Do I need to develop this? And it's just a way to help you prepare. We've got some networking questions. We'll take a look at that in another slide later. But, some things to help you have things to say when you're out there and talking with people, like when you go to the career fair. Here, you can ask the people who are there some of these questions. And if you're a little bit shy, it's nice to have some prepared questions when you're going to go. If you're considering grad school, the Career Center has created this grad school checklist where you can note a lot of things and as you prepare for applying. So that link that I put in the chat gets you access to be able to download these files. So, and you can put that information into your portfolio and then continue to update that. Because you're going to want to create a LinkedIn or online profile of some sort. As I mentioned, the Career Center has staff there that can do a lot of assisting you in creating this online profile. And they have staff who are so good at being able to show you how to connect with actual individuals who are maybe alumni of Chico State, so that you have some kind of connection, but they're also graduates in your major and they're maybe working in a job that you would eventually like to have. And it's a way that you can connect. The recording that we have of our first Life After Graduation workshop has all of those steps in there, and we're happy to share that link as well with folks who, if you want to put your email in the chat, we can share that link to that recording. But that you can go in there and meet with staff, and they can help you if you drop into their student success studio. So just know that they're available to help you with this. But that online profile is a way for you to let people out there know that you are out there, and you can talk about how great you are in your profile, and then you can let people know that you are open to work, or even if you're looking for an internship or volunteering, whatever it is, you can post about that. You can, as I already mentioned, you can search on LinkedIn by alumni, you can search by your field, you can search by geographic area, you can search by companies you want to work for, and really drill down and connect with people who then you can ask questions, you can have conversations with them. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to have those conversations in a minute. Also, creating that online profile, especially in LinkedIn, you can take advantage of LinkedIn Learning. And there are lots of little things that can help you prepare for trying to get your job. So they have things about preparing a elevator pitch, where you're just quickly saying a few things about yourself and networking with people. So that is something that we highly recommend, and Career Center can help you with that as well. And then networking, I just love to talk about networking because I realized how important it is, and how a lot of us never really get the experience of doing that. And sometimes people feel like it's a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes people are feeling a little bit shy. Is anybody here? Uh, do we have people who love it? Do we have people who hate it? Do we have people who never thought about it before? Anybody want to put something in the chat or just unmute yourself and make any comments about networking?
I think I have a hard time doing that. Although, like, I'm really talkative, I have a hard time, like, initiating, I guess, the conversation so that it's like a professional versus like a friend type of situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Joanna, because that is not uncommon. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Anybody else have any comments about that? Well, I think that what Joanna was talking about is something that I would guess the majority of people feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable. And the reason why I like to talk about it in workshops is because what I want to do is help it not be so uncomfortable, help it to be a little bit less intimidating. And Angelica mentioned that it can be beneficial to build connection, and that's exactly the key, is that building a connection with people early on is going to help you later on. And it may help you sooner rather than later, but it's really important to develop some relationships now so that as time goes by, those may be useful to you. And so to make it a little bit easier, you think about, I've got, let's see here, six different groups of people here listed that we want you to consider connecting with. If everybody can think of at least one person from at least four of these categories. So, can you think of one faculty member that you could go in to their office hours? Likely most of you are still taking a class. So can you think of one faculty member you could go into their office hours and just have a conversation? Is there one extended family member or one friend? Do you have an aunt or an uncle who is working out there in the world that you might be able to just ask some questions, have a conversation about how they got into what they are doing? Classmates. Can you think of one classmate, or have you seen any clubs where you might be able to drop in and just have a conversation with somebody? We'll talk about the GPS Club because that is an opportunity that's open to all of you, because it's even though it's a club that is called the Graduate Pathways Society, it is open to everyone who is even remotely interested in exploring the idea of graduate school, but you don't have to know you're going. It's just gathering information. They're having a meeting tomorrow. That's a perfect place to do some networking. Okay, so Liliana says, I have a class with Dr. Vedlinger and would love to receive a recording of this, the first workshop and slides, yes, I will send that. So we are going to send this to anybody who wants it because we're going to keep working a little bit more as we go on. We've got another half hour and we're going to kind of work through this a little bit. But keep thinking of individuals. Can you name one person from at least 4 of these groups? Is there anywhere that you volunteer? Do you have any community connections? Can you think of one person you could have a conversation with? And then the last 2 are a little bit more of a challenge sometimes, but might there be a professional association that you could email someone in and have a conversation via email? Or is there somewhere out there doing the work that you want to do that you might be able to get connected with through something like LinkedIn? So what we'd like you to do is think of at least 4 people off of this to get you started, and just commit in your mind, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with 4 people just to get me started. For me, I think, okay, I'm staff on campus. There are other staff members I know I could go and talk to, but I'm also a graduate student right now. And one of the things that I don't usually make time for is going into faculty office hours, and they have to be there at office hours. And so that's the commitment that I'm going to make. I'm going to go to my faculty members' office hours. I'm only taking 1 class this semester, and I'm going to go into her office hours and I'm going to meet with her and I'm going to have a conversation, a networking conversation. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that conversation can look like in a minute. So I'm encouraging everyone to kind of get 4 names down on paper today where you're going, okay, I'm going to start with this, and then we're going to practice some of the things that we might say to those folks. Because you want to develop those relationships before they're needed. And also, here's something that I really think is key, making it reciprocal. And this easy way to make it reciprocal when you are developing networking relationships, if you're doing it online, you can share links that are of information or podcasts or some kind of tip that you know about your field. I run into, I hear podcasts fairly often, and I'll be thinking, oh my gosh, I love this thing that they did on procrastination. And who doesn't like to have some tips on how to be better at not procrastinating? And so I'll just share a link of that. But that way you're putting things out there for other people, and you're also taking advantage of what other people are offering. So with that in mind, we're going to go to beginning and taking action. Okay, so to start a networking conversation, it doesn't have to be scary. It can be just simply getting somebody else's story. Now that to me is not intimidating. And because I'm not really asking for anything except I'm asking this person to talk about themselves, and usually people like to talk about themselves. And so I'm not walking in there as a, asking for something. I'm asking that person to share their story with me. So some questions that might be asked are, how did you get started in this career? So when I go into my professor's office hours, I can ask her, what education did you get to get where you are today? How did you get here? And once I get a little bit of that information, then I can say, do you have any advice for me? I'm kind of interested in that same area. That's why I'm in your class. What would you recommend? That's easy for this, for me in this meeting with a professor. Um, just how did you get started? And do you have any advice for me? Then we go on to another option of looking at getting some information about a particular position. I'm gathering information about, working in a historical records field. That's kind of what I'm interested in, for instance. And so you are finding somebody, maybe on LinkedIn, who perhaps graduated from here, perhaps not, or is working in that field because you were able to look up what their current position is. And you're just connecting with them and saying, I'm kind of interested in getting information about doing this. Could you recommend anyone that I could connect with? And maybe it's them, but maybe they have somebody else that would be a better fit. And you just happen to know them because you say, hey, I graduated from Chico State. I see you did too. I see you're working kind of in the area that I'm interested in. Do you know anybody I could talk to? Okay, so now it's very low stakes. You're just starting out slow and you're just asking small things. And then as you go, you may want to start with, if you are in a position where you could volunteer, you could ask, hey, I'd like to volunteer. Do you know where I should go to try and get in to a volunteer situation? Or, what can you tell me about the types of, say, biology field positions in, in your lab? So those are you just plug in your field, whatever company, and you've got something that kind of you're armed with to go in there and feel a little bit more comfortable with just starting out, asking small things. Knowing that they may ask you some questions as well. And so be prepared to tell them a little bit about yourself because they may ask. And they may also ask, how can I be of use to you? And so that's where you can say, oh, okay, I'm interested in getting into this field, and I just was hoping that you might be able to share any advice you have. Now, we recommend crafting a very short elevator pitch about who you are and what your goals are. And we already kind of got us started on that at the beginning of this workshop where, some folks were willing to unmute and say, this is who I am and this is what I'm studying and this is where I'm headed. That is a pretty good elevator pitch. So they're not intimidating things that you need to be kind of worried about or anxious about. It can be just really very basic, and that can kind of bring your comfort level, bring you to a better comfort level. So does anybody have something that they can think of that they might ask somebody? Anybody want to share an example of, oh, I could ask my cousin Joe, who is a pharmacist, about how he got there. Anybody have an idea that has come to them from what we've been talking about? Does anybody have any idea of who they might network with first? Even if it's the same idea I have.
So you're just asking who we would first go to network with?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would probably for me just be any of my professors and like ask what connections do they have, and then if they can get me in contact, and then if I could get my foot in the door that way. Because I feel like that's already kind of what I'm already doing and trying to look for internships and stuff because they know all the dietitians and I don't. So
Excellent. Excellent. That's exactly right. And you know what, Kelly? The more people you talk to, the more possibilities are out there. Because guess what? My sister's a dietitian, and you know what? Depending on where you want to go, she may have a connection for you. But if
yeah,
you hadn't told me that, then I wouldn't know that I might want to share some information with you. But that's how networking can be very low key. You just kind of put it out there. "Oh, I'm kind of looking for this kind of thing, and wonder if do you know anybody? Do you have any recommendations for me?" That's the kind of thing that just starting a conversation with the person next to you can do. So that's great, Kelly. I'm glad you're looking at that. And if you want to go to the Phoenix area, just let me know.
that
Anybody?
sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Angelica, I have a professor through my community college experience that's become a mentor. Excellent. Excellent. So you may not be going back to that community college, but you can email. Email is a great way to do networking because that gives you the opportunity to craft a little message, keep in touch with people. They'll remember who you are. So even though the years are going by, you're still in touch. And then when something comes up, that person may be able to recommend somebody to you. So excellent, Angelica. Anybody else?
I think I would try to talk to one of my previous professors as well. 'Cause I have a couple questions regarding like grad school and working with the LGBTQ community. So I did take one of her classes dealing with the LGBTQ community. So I think I would ask her like where she went to school for her master's and stuff like that.
Excellent. That's super. That's great. And that does not seem intimidating, right? It's doable. Okay. Moving on. Once you are actually putting into practice some of these visits where you're either visiting in person or you're visiting via email or via online, LinkedIn connections. Okay, you have that conversation and then you take time to reflect. Okay, how did that go? Did it go like I thought it was going to go? If it didn't, okay, what did I learn from that? Do I want to, you know, actually write out my questions and, was I just too nervous or because honestly, I have done that before where I was a little bit nervous about having to, go in and talk to somebody. So I've written it all out and just practiced saying it a few times so that I am more comfortable and so that it flows a little bit better. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. That's what I learned for me that worked, and it got me to be able to continue to do it enough where then I didn't need to have the script because I had done it enough and I was fairly comfortable. But reflecting on what the experience was like, figuring out what worked and what didn't work. And then if there was any kind of setback, just reframe and focus on what you learned. Continue to use support. And so all of you here have now me as a network possibility. So all of you can email me and say, hey, Rose, I was in that workshop with you, and I'm wondering if you have any connection to people who are doing this or professors who are in this field or information about graduate programs, even if they're somewhere else. Now you've got me as a connection because you were here. So you put yourself out there, you got yourself into a position where now you have extra networking possibilities. So use that. Get a hold of me anytime and see if maybe I can help extend your network. Because the Office of Graduate Studies is a support resource for undergraduates as well as grad students. So just keep that in mind. Do visit the Career Center, drop into their Success Studio. It's amazing the things that they can do for you. And they have lovely staff who are willing to meet with you Monday through Thursday. Just drop in between 10 and 3 and use their website. You can get lots of information even before you go in, but they can help you to put things together. And they have a lot of resources that we didn't have time to go over today. So take advantage of that and use them over and over and over again. I know several students who have gone in there and done practice interviews with them. They've had them help them put together their resume. They've had them take professional headshot photos that they could use when they put up their LinkedIn profile. I know students who have gone in and gotten help getting their LinkedIn profile up. So just know that that resource is there for you, not just once, not just while you're here, but forever. So continue to think about your list of connections and begin reaching out. And reach out, just now you have an opportunity to augment your list of connections by adding me. And then who knows? If you ask me, do I know anybody? I might. Or I might pass it along to somebody else and say, hey, do you know anybody? Because I don't. But now you've got that extra connection and you just keep that going because you never know when that connection is going to come in handy. So just using a low key opportunity. And then keep moving forward. Keep doing this. It's not a one and done game. We talk about it being an infinite game where there is nobody who loses. It's just winning by making yourself a little bit better every day and learning something every day. So keep moving forward and connect with the Office of Graduate Studies. I'm going to put my email in the chat. It's so easy to remember, so you might not even need to have that, but it's just rwhite@csuchico.edu. And we just want you to feel free to reach out, and you can stop by our office. We're in Student Services Center 460, but every Friday, if you're on campus, you could stop in at our grad cafe, which is free coffee and tea. And between 9 and 11, there is grad studies staff, but there's also current grad students who are there who can talk with you and network with you. But in addition to that, this Graduate Pathway Society, it's also known as the GPS Club, is a definite way for you to network, because the graduate students and undergraduate students who make up the officers in that club have a specific goal of being a support network for undergraduates as they are preparing for life after their education. And so whether you want to go on for graduate school or you are planning on going out into the work world, this is a place where you can very slowly develop some relationships by just going and meeting with these club members, which they'll meet tomorrow, which is, thank you, Areli, Wednesday, March 12th at 3 p.m. Student Services Center, room 122. We usually have pizza, so we'll have some pizza. You can just come. They'll do some kind of fun interactive mixing. And tomorrow, what they're going to work on, very low key, is just having people practice saying a few lines of a elevator pitch about themselves. So what I might say is, my name is Rose White, and I work in the Office of Graduate Studies, and I'm a social science master's student, and I plan on using what I'm learning in order to serve the students of this campus. And that's my elevator pitch. You will have your own, but it doesn't have to be a big deal. And it also doesn't have to be intimidating. And that's what we're trying to talk about now is, trying to get yourself prepared by, doing some of the things that we talked about, looking at yourself, what positions are out there, what the labor market is like, how things are matching up, creating a portfolio where you're tracking all of that, using an online presence to be able to begin networking, but also networking in person if that is possible. And then just keep it going. Take action, then reflect and go again. Does anybody have any questions about any of this or want any specific information that we haven't had a chance to go over yet?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So, who would I look to help me? Because through our job market course, we created an account for LinkedIn. So, I already have an account. I just honestly don't know how to utilize it. I haven't utilized it, and I, see that people are asking, I'm getting the requests, whatnot. I'm getting noticed, but I just don't know how to use it in general. So,
Okay. And I have the person for you. Kaylee Schroeder at the Career Center is the person who gave our LinkedIn demonstration. She is super at this. And so I would recommend that you drop in and see if Kaylee is available, and you could drop in via Zoom if you're not on campus. But if Kaylee's not available, the other staff at the Career Center can do it. I just know I've seen Kaylee. She is just fun and exuberant when it comes to LinkedIn. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Oh, look at that, Areli. You are on it. Thank you for sharing Kaylee's contact information.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm gonna just stop recording, and I thank